Culture is a word that's far deeper than meets the eyes, because when we go past the surface, so many things will arise. Our actions, our words, our morals, and what we do. When we take a step back, we can truly see what's actually true. This word has a lasting effect, and it all starts from the top. So I'll be breaking down what's important so our success never stops. Starting now. Hey yo! What's goody everybody? Today's topic, culture. Culture is a word that has so many definitions, but when you really break it down, it's all based on repetition. Consistency, hard work, and our morals will lead to success. So today's focus is how to establish these keys to separate ourselves from the rest. So now that we're live, let's dive! Point number one, top. Everything starts from the top. Our morals, thoughts, and our actions. Everything begins in our brain, and our body is just a reaction. Personal or business, individual or team. Before anything is devised, it all starts with a scheme. Game plans start from the general. They direct where we proceed, because the direction they point us in can either lead us to fail or succeed. They're the embodiment of culture and the embodiment of how a team responds. This is why the Steelers and success always correspond. Third all time in playoff appearances at 35. Third most players in the Hall of Fame with 32. Tied for first in Super Bowl wins with 6. And since 1969, they've had only 3 head coaches, far less than any other team. That's it. Consistency, integrity, family, and grit. Since 1933, the Rooney family made sure these values were their it. They've showcased consistency by having consistent success, because they've shown in each decade why they're consistently a threat. They value family by how they treat their players and their staff, because most of their Hall of Famers retire with them and have had only 3 head coaches since '69. That's less than any other team by more than half. Their grit has always been expressed by their style of play, because throughout their history, their defense has always been on display. And lastly is integrity. They uphold this value the most, because while most NFL owners agree on one thing, the Steelers, for the betterment of others, would oppose. Owner Dan Rooney, head chair of the league's diversity committee, proposed the Rooney Rule in 2003. The Rooney Rule's goal is to rectify the issues surrounding the NFL's lack of head coach diversity. In 2002, 2 of the 3 head coaches in the league were fired, so only 1 remained. But when their winning percentages were compared to their white counterparts, theirs was better. They should have sustained. With the preconceived notion that blacks couldn't excel at the head coach position, the Rooney family stuck their necks out to present a new proposition. Before any team can hire a new head coach, they must interview a minority candidate unless promoted in-house. This policy gave minorities an opportunity that they otherwise would have put in doubt. Thankfully, this rule was adopted by a league the same year. And now, 20 years later, the results are clear. Since 2003, 4 head coaches have coached over 10 years. 3 made the Super Bowl, and 2 have won. And Steelers' current head coach, Mike Tomlin, has the record for the most non-losing seasons in a row with 18. He's second to none. The Rooneys understood color doesn't dictate success. It's intellect, hard work, and tenacity that differentiate them from the rest. Now, there's still a ways to go. The rule isn't perfect, and it certainly isn't refined. But the Rooney Rule has created the groundwork for us to continue to improve over time. Culture, the Steelers' entire history, all began from the top and continues to trickle down. So next, I'll go over how to translate our thoughts to others so our results are profound. Point number 2, middle. The next stop of culture is the middle, the people we're around. The actions we display are vital to the image we create, because the people who follow us will replicate our traits, how we treat others, our environment, ourselves, and our effort. What we do for ourselves will only translate for others to become worse or better. Treating others with respect is vital in creating a sustainable culture, because we can't treat our teammates with respect. We all might as well just be vultures. Be honest, acknowledge others, be kind, and show grace. Since you're consistently being present, only love will be embraced. When it comes to our environment, many more than ourselves reside. So they consistently see you leaving trash, it'll only create a divide. So pick up your trash. Don't litter, and don't be afraid to pick up after others. Because although you're only picking up what you see, your impact will translate to others. When it comes to ourselves, This is arguably the most vital, because if we can't uphold our own words, our advice might as well be idle. How we dress, how we act, how we speak, and how we work. If we try to give advice, they'll either adhere or express disbelief through a smirk. So be presentable, don't complain, don't cuss, and be on time. Because when we uphold our own standards, others will only continue to climb. And lastly is effort. We cannot be lazy, because if we're not committed, our results will only be hazy. So put forth the efforts, accomplish tasks, and excel to complete, because the more time you exert, the more likely others will repeat. These four right here are aspects of cultures that our actions reflect. So it's imperative that we're conscious of our decisions so our culture has the right resounding effect. So with our actions being paramount to the people we have around, next I'll go over how our words can affect everybody on the ground. Point number 3, the bottom. From the head to the shoulders to the knees to the toes. Even though we have our actions, our words need to overflow. For the people that can't see us but we want them to mimic our actions, we must communicate thoroughly to ensure satisfaction. From our ancestors to our grannies to our parents down to us, traditions will only last as long as it's communicated that this is a must. All cultures are started by one and have the ability to transcend to all, because when it's effective, their words will be easy to recall. It's present in religion, in our families, in our work, and in our sports, because if the leader leaves a path, then our culture has support. Actions are eventually forgotten, and people fade away, so it's imperative that they leave a path for the next generation to replay. The Bible, letters, guidelines, and plays, although the originator isn't here, their thoughts are forever on display. So to communicate what we value and for others to envision what we did, these 4 things will complete how to communicate culture's grid. Clear, concise, emotion, and repetition. By expressing these 4, our results will never be fiction. Be matter of fact and communicate why it's a must. Then give a brief reason, but allow your example to be the trust. Showcase emotion and don't be afraid to give an example, because in order for a story to resonate, the consistency must be ample. So in our world today, culture is the key to future generations. So while you're here on this earth, inspire people across every nation. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button. If you'd like to see more, please feel free to check out the channel. And subscribe, because there's more in store. From one witness to another, you are special. Hook out.